Our empty nest. My name is Helen. I am 55 years old now. I was a teacher for 30 years. I retired last spring. I thought retirement would be quiet. I thought it would be peaceful. Now I know that quiet and peaceful are not the same thing as silent and empty. The house is very large. It feels too large for just two people. It used to be full of noise. It used to be full of life. Our two children just left. They went to college far away. Leo is 19. He went to the West Coast. Sarah is 18. She went south. We drove them both. We helped them unpack. We hugged them for a long time. We cried in the car on the way home. George held my hand on the highway. I thought we were sharing the same sadness. I thought we were sharing the same loss. We came back to this house. The house was spotless. I had cleaned it very well before we left. There were no shoes by the door. There were no backpacks on the kitchen counter. There was no loud music coming from upstairs. There was no argument about who used the last milk. Everything was in its place. The order was terrible. The order was screaming at me. For 25 years, our life was a project. The project was raising the children. We were good partners in that project. George handled the school meetings. I handled the doctor appointments. We worked together perfectly. We were a team. Now the project is finished. The team does not know what to do next. The field is empty. We are standing there alone. George is my husband. He is 57. He works in finance. He works from home mostly now. He goes into his home office very early. He closes the door. He stays there all day. I used to interrupt him often. I used to bring him coffee. I used to ask him about dinner plans. Now I walk past the door. I do not knock. He does not call my name. The silence is the worst thing. It is not just the lack of shouting or laughter. It is the silence between George and me. We sit at the dinner table. The table is huge. It used to seat 4 loud people. Now it seats 2 quiet people. We talk about the weather. We talk about the mail. We never talk about us. We never talk about what we will do tomorrow. I try to fill the time. I read books. I bake bread. I walk the dog for a very long time. I call my friends. They are also in this new empty chapter. They talk about trips they are planning with their husbands. They talk about new hobbies. I listen to them. I nod on the phone. I do not tell them about the quiet house. I do not tell them about George. I wonder if you have ever felt this way. Let me know in the comments if this resonates with you, this feeling of standing still when the world tells you to move. I started to notice small things about George. He was different. He used to be very open about his work. Now he protects his computer screen. If I walk into the room, he quickly clicks away from whatever he is looking at. He says, "Oh, it's just work," but his work usually involves spreadsheets. The things he clicks away from look like pictures. They look like maps. I asked him one evening, "George, what are you doing all day in the office?" He looked up from his plate. He was eating chicken and broccoli. He did not look me in the eyes. He said, "I am working, Helen. I have a lot of reports due." You know how it is. I did not know how it was. I did not feel close to him anymore. I felt like I was living with a polite stranger. We share a bed. We do not share thoughts. We do not share dreams. One Saturday, I was cleaning the house. I decided to tidy George's office. I usually stay out of his space, but the dust was everywhere. I opened the door quietly. He was out running errands. I started to wipe down his desk. I saw a small notebook. It was a black leather notebook. It looked new. I should not have opened it, but I did. My hands were shaking a little. The first page was a list. It was titled, Phase 1, Freedom. My heart stopped beating for a second. I read the list very slowly. The words were small and neat in George's handwriting. 1. Sell the old SUV, too much gas. 2. Research lightweight hiking gear. 3. Learn basic Spanish phrases, Andy's trip. 4. Check Patagonia travel dates, March to May 5th. Confirm sabbatical extension with Mr. Johnson. I sat down hard in his leather chair. The chair smelled like him. The notebook felt heavy in my hand. Patagonia, the Andes, March to May. There was no we on the list. There was no mention of me. This was not a trip for us. This was a plan for him. A plan for George's life, separate from mine. I turned the page. There were maps. Detailed maps of mountains in South America. There were notes about altitude sickness. There were lists of hostels. There were budgets for 4 months of solo travel. 4 months. I felt cold all over. It was not just the surprise. It was the deep, sharp realization of how far apart we were. He had been planning this for months, maybe even for years. He had been living a secret life inside his head. He had been building a future that did not include me. I thought back to the last few years. He always said he needed to save money for retirement. I thought we were saving for a big change together. Maybe a small house by the coast, maybe a trip to Italy. I talked about Italy a lot. He just nodded and said, "We will see, Helen." "We will see." He never said, "I am saving so I can climb a mountain alone for 4 months." I closed the notebook. I put it back exactly where I found it. I did not clean the rest of the office. I walked out and closed the door very softly. The silence in the house was now different. It was not just empty. It felt full of betrayal. I went into the garden. I sat on the bench under the oak tree. The sun was warm, but I still felt cold. I thought about our marriage. Was it ever more than a partnership for the children? When did we stop seeing each other? When did we stop talking about what we truly wanted? I remembered when we first met. We were young. We shared every small thought. We planned our lives together. We chose the furniture together. We chose the children's names together. We chose this house together. Now he was choosing a whole new life without consulting me. George came home an hour later. I heard the car door slam. I heard him put the groceries on the kitchen counter. He called my name. "Helen, are you home?" I walked inside. I stood in the kitchen doorway. He looked up, he smiled. It was a normal, easy smile. That smile made me feel sick. He was acting normal. He was hiding a massive secret behind that smile. I got the good tomatoes, he said cheerfully. I thought we could make pasta tonight. I did not move. I just looked at him. George, I said. My voice was low. It did not sound like my voice. What is phase 1? Freedom. His smile vanished instantly. His face went pale. He dropped the bag of tomatoes. They rolled across the floor. He looked trapped. What are you talking about? He whispered. I was cleaning your office, I said simply. I did not shout. Shouting felt too easy. I saw your notebook. Patagonia, 4 months. Solo trip. You are planning to leave me for 4 months. He looked at the floor. He did not deny it. The silence stretched between us again. But this silence was heavy with truth. Helen, he started. His voice was rough. I was going to tell you. I needed to finalize the details first. Finalize the details of your escape? I asked him. The pain was sharp in my chest. We are married, George. We are supposed to be partners in this next chapter. You planned an entire life without me. Why? He ran a hand through his hair. He looked tired and defeated. It's not about escaping you. It's about fulfilling something. I have always wanted to do a really difficult physical challenge. You know, I love hiking. I put it aside. For 25 years, I put it aside. Then the kids left. I realized that if I didn't do it now, I never would. And you thought I would just stay here? I asked. Baking bread and watering my plants? Did you think my life was just waiting for you to come back from your big adventure? I thought you were happy, he insisted. He sounded defensive now. You retired. You love your garden. You read constantly. You never said you wanted to climb a mountain. You always hated camping. I hate camping, yes, I agreed. But I do not hate you. And I do not hate spending time with you. I just wanted us to plan something together. A new beginning for us. Not a beginning for you alone. He sighed deeply. He picked up one of the tomatoes. He held it tightly. We stopped talking, Helen, he admitted. Somewhere along the way, we stopped talking about the big things. We only talked about the children. We talked about Leo's grades. We talked about Sarah's driving lessons. When the children left, the glue disappeared. His words were honest. They hurt, but they were true. We had become roommates focused on child management. We had forgotten to be husband and wife. I looked at him, really looked at him for the first time in months. His eyes were sad. He was not a villain. He was just a man who felt trapped and who found a secret way out. So, what do we do, George? I asked. Do we just accept that the marriage ended the day the children left? Is that the reality? He walked toward me slowly. He did not touch me. He stood a few feet away. No, he said. I don't want that. But I also need to be honest. I am terrified of the silence too. I am terrified of looking at you every day and realizing we have nothing left to say. That is exactly why you planned the trip. I stated, "You didn't want to face the silence with me. You wanted to run until the silence went away." He nodded slowly. "Maybe. I think I wanted to prove I was still George, the adventurous guy, not just Leo and Sarah's dad." I felt a slight softening in my chest. He was vulnerable. He was admitting his fear. "And what about me?" I asked quietly. "What about Helen? I am not just their mother either. I retired too. I want a new life too." "But I thought the new life was with you." "It can be," he whispered. "Maybe the trip is a mistake. Maybe I need to cancel it." "No," I said, surprising myself. "Do not cancel it, not yet. If you cancel it now, you will resent me forever. And I will know I stopped you from having your dream." That is not how we fix this. We stood there, staring at the scattered tomatoes on the floor. "We have to start over," I told him. "We have to reintroduce ourselves. You need to tell me who George is now. I need to tell you who Helen is now. We need to decide if these two new people still want to be together." It was the hardest conversation we had ever had. It was harder than fighting about money. It was harder than worrying about the children. It was about the foundation of our entire shared history. We sat down at the kitchen table, the huge, empty table. We did not eat pasta. We just talked. We talked until the sky outside was dark. He told me about the physical need to climb mountains. He talked about the quiet beauty of the wild. He talked about feeling young again. I told him about my own fear. I told him that I missed being needed. I told him that I felt invisible in this big house. I told him that I wanted adventure too, but a different kind. I wanted to see the art of the world. I wanted to live in Paris for a month and go to museums every day. We realized our dreams were opposite. He wanted wilderness and solitude. I wanted culture and bustle. Can we mix them? I asked him late that night. Can we find a compromise? He looked uncertain. Patagonia is pretty far from Paris, Helen. I know, I said. But maybe we do not have to do everything together anymore. We spent 25 years glued together. Maybe we can have separate adventures, but still have a shared home to come back to. Maybe we can plan 2 solo trips and then 1 trip for us. We decided on a test. George would not cancel his trip, but he would postpone it slightly. We would use the next 4 months to actively date each other. We would schedule time to talk, not just about bills, but about feelings. We would research my Paris plan. We would talk about the future honestly every day. If, after 4 months of true effort, we still felt like strangers, then George would go to Patagonia alone, and we would face the difficult conversation about separating our lives permanently. If we found a spark, he would go, and I would start planning my Paris trip. We would trust the bond we once had. It felt terrifying, but also freeing. The secret was out. The truth was painful, but it was a start. The empty nest was forcing us to look at the bird that was left inside and decide if it still wanted to fly with its partner. We are still in the test phase now. We went for a walk yesterday. We did not talk about the children. We talked about the first movie we ever saw together. It was a very small start. It was a very big step. Have you ever felt something like this, where the end of one chapter forced you to question the entire book? What advice would you give to your younger self about maintaining connection during the long, busy years of raising a family? If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe for more emotional English stories.